What up, y'all? This is your boy Juro. It is February. Excuse me. It is the 9th of July, 2016. That tells you what's on my mind, right? Got a little scatterbrain right now. But that's okay, though, because I was actually running the suede. Need a little ambiance, cameo in the background. Uh, I was actually fighting with myself in regards to if I was going to put a video out this week with all the events that have occurred, unless you have been buried under a rock, I don't have to remind you of the losses that have been felt on all sides. Because the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter the melanin. The fact of the matter is, loss of life. One loss of life is too much. And this is nothing but a byproduct of fear and ill actions, lack of having the ability to be vulnerable and transparent to educate not only yourself, but understanding your environment. You know, your environment, the place that you know as your living constant, the place that you deem as safety, which really is nothing but a mirror reflection of what's found within inside yourself. But does this surprise you? Because see, I've been echoing this for quite some time, y'all. See, we live in a world now that people are being more bold and brazen to support their fear instead of supporting their foundation. I would rather go off of an assumption or a perception than know the true facts of who and what I stand for. So now we are in a breeding ground. The cultivation that is being done, I hope you see this, y'all. It's got fear written all over. You know, fear, finally everything's reality because we don't value life anymore. If we don't like it our way, we try to change it. If it doesn't suit us when we want to destroy it. Why? Because it's fear. And what is fear fueled with? Ignorance. How about hate? But see, here's the thing that I've come to learn about hate. You can't you can't embrace hate unless you know what hate feels like, which is from you. So there is a byproduct, which I'm gonna go there. It's found in your spirit, y'all. You are what you attract. That's why everything comes full circle. And see, now we live in an environment where people don't want to hide. People don't want to walk in the shadows no more. They're just letting things fall and hang as it must, and they expect you to pick up the pieces. But it's kind of hard to do when the daily reminders, because you know that's what programming is all about, y'all. Do you not see what is being going on? Constantly, there's a reminder of what you don't need and what not to do, but also subliminally letting you know that if you do, this would be the outcome. It's kind of ironic though, because if you dictate your environment, that would not be the outcome now, wouldn't it? But let's not give a pass where a pass is not earned. You do understand there's a person that looks just like you. You do understand there's a person that does not want you to be happy, that wants you to constantly live in fear, to constantly live your life impulsively so you can't have sound decisions made for what's best for you. You know why? Because it makes money. Do you realize how many gun sales have gone just in this week alone because of fear? I keep telling y'all, somewhere there's a boardroom filled with a bunch of suits looking at the matrix of the profit sharing that occurred within the beginning of the week compared to current events. You got to understand something. People won't do things unless there's money connected. But yet, there's no accountability. There's no conversation. There's no dialogue. So, how do you expect me to eat from that plate that's already broken? I don't know if you don't understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to get to you is this. What's at risk is your legacy, your story. Each one teach one. See, this that has been going on is nothing but a byproduct of the things not done 30 years ago. Let me correct. How about 60 years ago? You do understand there are some people that even look like you that don't want you around. They will never see the value of your dreams, your aspirations. Why? Because you're not doing it yourself. They're benefiting off of your doubts. They're benefiting off the fact that you are willfully self-defiling yourself, leaving them with clean hands. But let's keep in mind, the foundation was already placed, but it was your responsibility to walk on it. So we can't take full ownership of the victim card. No. We can't do that because that's not who we are as a human race. You do realize, right? Let's go back. It's just kind of ironic the world that we live in is a byproduct of what we lack to do. I remember there was a time where there was prayer in school. I remember there was a time when your neighbor looked out for you. I remember when there was a time where honor mattered, morals counted. What happened to those days? If you're sitting in your 40s, they're in the back of your mind. So why are you not instilling those things that were ingrained into you? You do understand it only takes just one. It just takes one person. It starts with the person that's looking in that mirror every morning as you brush those pearly whites, as you wipe those beautiful eyes, to say one more day. I got one more day, and ground your feet. Why? Because it's your story. So we can't get mad if we leave that in someone else to tell. But see, if you keep listening to society's portrayal of you, you will be lost, you will be disheveled, and you will be left to the wayside, only to pick up the pieces. That's not you. It never was. So ask yourself, for me, why won't you love you? What will it take for you to finally say enough is enough? You hear people always want to jump on the soapbox and say, well, it's about Black Lives Matter. It's about this. It's about that. But you know what? I remember the story. It was all about the 12 tribes. But if you don't know, because you don't have a connection with God, guess what? The path you're on is never going to take you where you need to be. And I really believe right now, see, that devil think he's winning because, see, he's been working a number on you, my queens. He's already gotten to a place inside you to convince you not to see your worth and to now take a position to do things on your own. I told you from day one, your whole responsibility was to prepare. There are going to be some things that you're going to want to accomplish, but you can't do. But if you let the people on the boob tube tell you, guess what? Not only the journey that you're trying to go on will not start, but you won't even be able to take the step because you won't realize those feet are attached to you. But see, I get it. Because see, we are so divided and we're so focused on everybody else's business instead of the person that matters the most. And that's the person that's looking back, the person that is feeling that heartbeat, the person that lungs are expanding and compressing. I'm talking about you because there's only one you. You're priceless. Your value should not be measured because I'm putting you in a box for the last time. But yet we forget. Nobody's promised tomorrow. It's pretty obvious nowadays. But you don't think that the world feels the disappointment? But even the government said a long time ago, we are in a season of shock and awe. But guess what? We use these catchphrases, don't realize that they have deeper meaning because guess what? All that was is nothing but a descriptional words to condition the way mankind is going to deal with the world because we want you to be conditioned. Because see, if you don't see your worth, why should I see your worth? We too busy worried about things that have no merit. But not one time did we hear about people saying, hey, you know what? I do love you. You do matter. I do give a damn about what you're about. And I don't like what you're doing. So I'm going to throw this out there because that's what friends do. It's time for you to tie those shoes up. It's time for you to wipe your nose. It's time for you to stand up and take your life back. But guess what? You keep letting things that have no value to you distract you. That's why they make the movies they make. That's why they make the music they make. Why? Because it's all about social conditioning. See, if I'm going to run a number on you, I've got to condition you to not be resistant. So if I'm constantly beating this in your head, when you see it, you're not going to see it as a threat. So does it surprise you, ladies? How about my moms out there? You seen the evidence of choices made long ago that was already there. See, until you decide to see your worth and value, can you invest in it? Not hold your watch and wait for it to come, because it won't. What is required is for everyone to do their part. But guess what? Like I said before, there are some people that don't want you to have your happy ever after. They'll keep feeding you nothing but pipe dreams and fairy tales. Yeah, you keep believing that if you want. You want your fairy tale? Do the work. Because you might finally come to realize that fairy tale was really a blessing that was there the whole time. I know I'm talking to someone. But see, it doesn't surprise me, y'all, because this is 2016. We can't expect our communities to be unified when our families are not. Our families are so disfranchised. It's sad. I think about it. I think about Cain and Abel. They were divided. And everything that's going on since that scripture and story was revealed, it's playing out over and over and over. We're killing each other. For what? An opinion, a reputation. How about fear? Yes, I understand every brother's not your brother. I understand that too. But what you should be worrying about shouldn't be your brother. It should be your connection with God first. See, if you don't have a relationship with God first, you're not going to know where you're going. You're going to continually walk in the wilderness because guess what? You don't put him first. So every time you choose to do it on your own, does it surprise you? You don't get the outcome that you justly deserve, but actually, that's what you get. Some things are not meant to be done with your hands. But see, I understand that too, because see, there are plenty of people out here that want to put and elevate man's hands. But I told you, everything that is touched and created by man's hands come with an expiration date. Why? Because man will never master forever. So they're temporary. The moment that you decide to possess it, the clock starts. The depreciation begins. Why? Because it's not made for forever. Ask the people that need medicine, need cures. They'll tell you that. But I beg to differ. I believe, as the scriptures once said, everything that was needed for man is found in the earth. And those who know exactly where to get it. But see, we also know that there's no money in cures. There's money in sustainment. But see, what a lot of people don't take in consideration is the biggest pandemic we got going on in our society is mental health. See, that is that elephant in the room, especially in our community. We don't talk about the things that need to be talked about, but we watch Uncle Charlie act a fool. We turn a blind eye when Auntie Sarah is ripping and running up the street, knowing she carries on the back of her name your namesake. She carries it with her dignity. Don't you see it, y'all? The generations are broken. They're torn. They're barely holding themselves together. And that environment becomes the examples of those who are going to come behind us. So does it surprise you that little man wants to go and grab the first piece of steel to go and cap them? Why? Because he saw you do it. He heard you do it. He heard what mama did. He saw what mama didn't do. But I'm a firm believer we can change it all, y'all, the moment that we decide to get back to ourselves. Now, I understand there are going to be plenty of people that are going to play that we need to be separate. You go your way, I go mine. And I also know that that's nothing but a byproduct of deep wounds that are not looked at, because everybody got a wound. Everybody got a sore that they've got a light scab over. And they use that as nothing but justification for their positioning. But truth, when you ask for the truth, they can never tell you why they hurt. But their bad behavior trumps everything that comes out their mouth, because they fall in love with their denial, and I understand that too. But I never thought in a million years we would get to a place where we're so divided as a community, as a culture. How about as a gender? There's so much division between male and female. I'm thinking, wait a minute, there would not be no you without Adam and Eve. But I also understand that there are those that think they're men that you're a woman, and you think you're a woman, but you are actually birthed to be a man. And until you know your true identity of who you are, well, you know where you're going. And I understand because there are emotional triggers deep down inside that give you a pass to what you think is your direction, but it only brings you to dead ends. I understand that too. That's why I keep praying for you, because see, until you're willing to be honest with yourself, well, your reality, be honest with you. You tired of going through the merry-go-rounds of broken promises and lies and another guy up on top of you? Maybe it's time for you to sit down, see your worth. How about to have a good cry? Hmm? You so strong, but you won't let a tear. You won't have a tear fall from your eyes. Why is that? Because you're afraid. You're afraid to be true to you, huh? You understand by you choosing not to embrace your emotions, you are walking dead. You do know that, right? Because that is nothing but a splinter of who you really are. Diana Ross said it best in Mahogany. Remember? Do you know? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Do you know? So I ask you, do you know you? Because if you don't know you, you'll never know your neighbor. And maybe that is the foundation of why so many people choose to lie when ignorance has a platform. Hmm? Oh, I don't know what's really going on, so I got to make a story. I got to spin it. How about you leave your hands off of it and let all truth be revealed as it should? But see, I understand that too, because you got people that look just like you, and you have people that don't look like you. They just want you out of the way. So, if I can put you in a 3x5, or if I can put you in a plot, that makes more room for me. But guess what? We all pay. We all pay. So let's go back. Like I said, unless you were under a rock, I'm going to say this. Do you think it's kind of coincidental in the last couple years, we've legalized drugs, we have promoted alcohol, and we've flooded our community with guns? There's overabundance of guns everywhere, and everybody has the right to bear arms if you earn the right to bear arms. But see, I also understand this: criminals don't give a damn. They don't. They'll kill their own mama if it needs to lead to a means to a buck. I understand that too. You have some people that are some of the most torn and broken, that they're willing to get you out of the way. But guess what? Those people forget one thing: you can't take it with you, but you can pay for it for the rest of your life. Because guess what? Sitting in the cut, there's the devil. He's saying thank you. We used to have this little thing where they said, well, you got these hate groups out here, and every time that you disrespect yourself, you're doing their work. And then they got so bold and brazen when they said, well, there's a joke out there that if you ever wanted to hide something from a minority, you put it in a book, because they won't invest in themselves to read it. How much hate do we have to sludge through? What's been going on 4 weeks ago, almost 5? Before that was a hot topic. We had all these moms out here killing their kids. But that's not topic anymore because of what's going on. There's still lack of lot. There's still loss of life. There's still another child that will never contribute to the world. There's still more pain and bloodshed not being accounted for. That's still a link in your family lineage. So does it surprise you we're divided? Because we're not valuing the number one link to that. You. So until you decide to give a damn, your environment's not going to give a damn about you. But it's contradictory when you turn around and say, well, hey, you know what? We need to invest in ourselves, but we don't invest in ourselves because we're too busy trying to smile and glorify things that only take us back 10 years. And this is what everybody. It's so trending now. Well, it's been trending for the last 20 years. They just didn't know how to speak on it. But come on now. How you gonna see where you're going if you're constantly looking at your ass? How you gonna know what's going on if you don't fill up your brain? You know, that beautiful mind. Why you think advertisers get paid? Because they like impulsive people. It doesn't matter if you don't love yourself, because you ain't living until you do. If you turn around putting more emphasis on chasing Charlie down because he got a good stroke, or he drive a good whip, or he lived there, you ain't living. Your worth is no different than the spare in the back of his truck, back of his car, an asset. My kings, we can end the hate. We can end the hate the moment you decide to love yourself. Take accountability. Because I'm going to tell you what, every day that you choose not to take accountability for your life, guess what happens? There's another broken woman that holds up a banner and says, I'm a feminist. And really a feminist is nothing but a broken woman that thinks she hates hates men, but she acts like one. So delusional because you think you got a little paper, but you ain't got no shame in how you got your paper behind closed doors. Oh, did I pull your chain? But what's so funny is the platform that you want to stand on, you think you're getting support? No, the only thing you're doing is supporting, tearing down your community too. And once the damage is done, because guess what? Anything that's not understood is considered a threat. And they're going to they're going to continue trying to they're going to continue to emasculate men, especially your men. And they're going to do theirs too. And they're going to try to build a utopic society of women. Guess what? That ain't going to work. That's why I laugh. I laugh to prevent myself from crying. I remember when it used to be, oh man, she's just a tomboy. Nah, she just needed to be loved. And all she did was turn to the only source that was willing to give it, even if it meant it looked just like her. But you know what? I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not. I know you're broken. You're a little strong. Yeah, I'm talking to you. But when you gonna be strong enough to look at your wounds and take accountability? How about them fears you've been trying to mask? What about that? Say, I'm strong, I can do it. Yeah, but you cry yourself to sleep. You drown yourself in your bottle. You choose to get high. Or you do like everybody tries to do in their 20s. And you sleep with everybody that will willingly say hello. But you don't realize, see, the effects are not right then and there. Sometimes God will step in and smack you on your butt and say that ain't what you need. But sometimes the effects don't happen till down the road, maybe 10, 20 years. Sometimes it don't even come until you're on your last breath, and then it all makes sense, but then it's too late. That ain't your story unless you choose it to be. But if you choose it to be, how can you call yourself strong? How can you claim that as your truth? Because there is a fraternity and a sorority of men and women called pain that ain't living their lives. How can you live your life if you don't have a connection with yourself? So does it surprise you that your marriages fail? Your companions come and go like the wind, like a darn candle. And when the wick is burnt, they don't want nothing to do with you. First of all, they shouldn't have heard you breathe, but you attracted them in your life because you shared the same mindset, and commonality in both was denial. So now we are hurt. We hurt, but we're not so hurt to do something different. When's the last time you had a conversation with that significant other? Huh? When's the last time you picked that phone up and said, hey, look here, I know you and I are not seeing eye to eye, but I do love you. We've gotten so accustomed to do things. We give more props to this damn thing than this. Because at least you got a screen to be a coward to say what you need. Remember the days when you had something to say, you looked them in the eye. That was called integrity. But see, socially, we've become lost. We've allowed our personas and alter egos to write checks that our asses can't cash. All the while, that lion is sitting in the brush. And he's smiling. And he's saying, go ahead, destroy yourself. Make sure that nothing comes from you anymore. Oh, your extensions, I'm going to work them out too. Because see, that's how that devil does. See, you may think you got away, but see, the devil has a way too. He doesn't spare no expenses when it comes to downfall. He may use you to get to your child. Because he knows that, oh, you think you're hard? Let me go ahead and put some calamity on your child, see how hard you are. Let me put you in a position where you got to sit still and watch what goes on because it's out of your control. But here's the thing, none of that has to be. It doesn't. So, let me bring this home. I could sit up here and play the banjo, beat the drum about this week's events. This week's events should have never happened. But see, instead of us coming together and talking our problems out, we want to pick up a 2-pound piece of steel to be the persuader, to be the negotiator. I even remember when there was a time when you had an issue with somebody, you couldn't work it out with them, you had these. What happened to us? But see, I understand. Because that's the environment that has been given a willful pass. And you have some people that gratify off of having vibrato. Oh, he a badass, but yet he can't work through his problems. He hard as hell, but yet he can't pay his bills. I keep trying to tell you, brothers, you don't earn the right to be called Mr. until you know you. Your legacy is on your back. The things you do and say represents those who came before you. How about your elders? Have we forgotten? But let me say this too. It's only going to get worse. Mm, it's going to continue to get worse until we have the courage to have that dialogue. There is no answer in separatism. Let me tell you what, separatism is nothing but a watered down way of saying hate. It takes courage to sit at the table. You ain't got to eat, but you got to sit down. And maybe that might be a start. But just keep in mind, because they look like you, talk like you, maybe they don't have your agenda. You ever thought about that? That's why I say be careful of those you call friends. Because see, that word friend is blessed. Because it's a representation of unconditional love. So if you got somebody in your circle that does not inspire you, does not have integrity to tell you when you are wrong, that is not there for you in the darkest time, those ain't your friends. That is nothing but an opportunist that has yet to be exposed. But just know this, opportunists don't need your help to expose themselves. But it does require the courage to see them for who they are. And they're nothing but people that are afraid of their own truth. They ain't no different than a leech to a to a wound, a tick to a dog. That ain't your story, y'all. Queen, you know I love you. I love you. You're God's gift to man. But you don't want just any man. And I know you're not a glutton for punishment. But see, I understand that because there are some of y'all that put price tags on your mortality. You say, well, yes, I might look like a porcelain doll or a fragile rose, and I'm going to use this to get me where I need to be. But guess what? What if that road is a dead end? What if that road is a setback? What if that road is nothing but a door inside your mind that will cause you to do time in it because you don't have the courage to free yourself from your pain? But see, you ask those feminists over there, and I look, I get it. I get it. Because I'm going to tell you what, most of them have been broken and hurt and chastised and reared in environments where that's all they know and that's their norm because they saw their mama do it. They saw a female of significance inspire them to be just like them. When in actuality, they should have saw the red flags and said, this is not what I need. I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm trying to you to see your grace. Your crown and glory is here. Metaphorically, I could say that's your natural hair. But you know what's so ironic though? You see this more than ever. You always see someone saying, well, you know, why is it that black men gravitate to white women? Oh, it must be this or that. They overlook us. But yet you turn around, the same things you resent, you take on. You ever thought about that? You talk to them on the phone, you sound like Marsha Brady. You see them, they look like Connie Chung. But you don't see it in reverse, because what you see in reverse is you see that person going to the bank. They're making money off of your insecurity instead of you learning from your grace. I'm going to just say this. I believe in you. I know you can turn it around. For my single mothers out there, don't get caught up in your reality today. Step forward into your tomorrow, because that's where your blessing's gonna be. And don't worry about him. Don't worry about him, because like I said, if he don't have a relationship with God, he don't have a relationship with himself. And if he don't have a relationship with himself, does it surprise you why y'all don't have a relationship with each other? Because he can't have one with you, because he don't have one with him. So therefore, he don't know where he going. So you naturally follow. Hey, you are what? You are the helpmate. You're the rib. So you're the foundation. But if that foundation is not strong, how can it stand? And this is not a question on how strong you are as a species. Because last time I checked, ain't no men out here bearing children. We do give life, but you sustain it. It's because you are the nurturer. That was a gift that God gave you because he called you woman. That's why there'll never be another. But I will say this. Until you can stand up, look yourself in the mirror just like you do before you walk outside your door, and tell yourself, I love you. I see your worth. I deserve better. Can you tap into that courage? How about your discernment? Because, see, I know some of y'all right now, you dream about a good night's sleep. I know you do. You can't stop them voices in your head, because really that voice in your head is that little girl inside you saying, why are you hurting me? Why are you going over that man's house? Why are you letting this man come in ours? But the biggest conflict of it all is this. That voice is also telling you this. Why won't you take accountability for your actions? This goes for kings too, for you. That's right, kings. You have been given God-given talents the world should have, but they'll never come to pass until you find you. It doesn't make you a man by pulling the trigger. That just shows that you lack substance. You lack communicational skills. And that's the problem the world is, because there's a whole lot of lack going on. Nobody wants to stop the momentum. Everybody wants to do this instead of do this. But I'm not going to give up on you. I'm not. Because guess what? This is also the makings of your testimony, the moment that you decide to ground your feet. Queens, I'm going to say this for the last time. If you are in your 30s and below, stop bed hopping. You are not going to find your Prince Charming. You'll probably find the Prince of Darkness. Because guess what? Demons do exist. I ain't got to tell you that, because look at the downfall that you've gone through. How about the disrespect? How about that conversation that he said to you that time in the car had you shook? That wasn't blessed. How about that wound you're looking at right now? That scar you feel that It may be gone from surface, but emotionally it is still alive. You can make it all go away the moment that you decide to fall back in love with you. So that goes back to my final thought. It only takes one. Don't worry about what your neighbor's doing. Worry about what you need to be doing. And if they don't see your worth, they can't walk with you. And for those who don't understand what I'm saying, I want y'all to go up here. I want you to pull up Stevie Wonder's They Can't Go. Listen to the song. Then I want you to pull up the Temptations. I'm the exception to the rule. Listen to it. Let your heart take it in. And tell me again why you don't deserve to be at peace. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. For that, it helps me discern mine, excuse me. I'm sick and tired of little boys waking up to another day and they don't have their daddy there. Little girls growing up to be grown women searching for their daddy through the men that they lay with, only to inherit nothing more but pain. That's not your story, but it can be your testimony when you decide to claim your life back. If you're feeling me, give me a thumbs up. If you know somebody going through it, like all my videos, put it out there. Because as long as we stay divided, we can never move forward. What about that heart? Don't you think it's time to make it whole? I do. Be blessed.